this week's video. So for this week, I'm doing a little bit of a sort of update and sort of a New Year's vlog thing, resolution, what I've been up to, what's sort of coming in hopefully this year, and sort of what I've been reading. Just sort of like a general update video because I haven't done a vlog in a minute. So I hopefully everyone had a wonderful holiday if you celebrated, and I'm of course wishing everybody a happy new year. I have still been dealing with insomnia. That has not been fun. However, I have started because of the insomnia, I'm not one of those people that I hear like a lot of writers who are like, they have insomnia, but then they just like get up and write stuff, and just like I can't do that. I don't have the mental space for that because I'm tired, but I don't have like the mental space for that. I'm tired. It just my brain just won't flick off to sleep. So I've been they say like if you're lying down and you're sleeping, you should get up. If you're not asleep within like an hour or something, you should get up. And that's when like most writers would, write. No, I can't. I don't have the mental space for that. But I have started scrapbooking and journaling and doing junk journals and like paper crafts and like that kind of stuff. And it's a weird sort of rabbit hole that I kind of fell into because I started watching videos on antiquing and like people like getting stuff from flea markets and stuff, and I thought that was like really interesting, and then somehow that ended up into watching videos on people making like vintage like scrapbooks and stuff, and so I started getting like more and more into that, and sort of in these periods of insomnia I started to like get like a few things together because I had like magazines and stuff, because ever since I was little, and it's weird how this has come back around, it kind of feels like a full circle moment. Ever since I was little, I loved cutting things out of magazines. I don't know why. I always loved cutting things out of magazines and collecting the pictures and stuff. And then that sort of transferred into my writing, in the sense that I have like binders and stuff with like character pictures and like locations and like clothes and jewelry and stuff that I use for my writing, because as an author, I'm very much of a dialogue sort of author, and setting and description is not my forte. I always have to go back and fill in like details and stuff, otherwise they're just a bunch of floating talking heads. Floating talking heads who do sexy times. But yeah, cutting those pictures and stuff has helped me like in my writing. And now it's sort of like I'm doing that with like cutting out stuff and pictures and things into like scrapbooking, and it sort of moved into that. And I have found like it's something that I'm really, really enjoying. So I will show you, I guess. I'm actually working on a journal right now that I have some of the like magazine cutout stuff packs up on Etsy. I've opened an Etsy shop, and I have those packs up. I have there's different categories, and there's about like 100 pictures to a pack, I believe, that I put up. And there's different categories. There's vintage images. There's vintage ads. Like, I've had like a lot of fun getting like magazines from like the 30s and the 40s, and cutting out stuff from that. And I both put packs of that up on my Etsy, and I also use them in my scrapbooks and journaling and that kind of stuff. So I'm actually working on a romance themed journal right now that I thought maybe I would show you guys. So this is sort of how it looks, the cover, and it's like the back cover, and that's sort of the front there. There's the page there, and there's a little bits of like love letters and poems and stuff inside. And with like, again, like vintage sort of images there. And this, I think this is my favorite page that I've done, even though like I like all the pages that I've done, and there's like Casablanca, and then there's a poem over here, and then there's, I make sure to have like space where you can actually journal in the journal, but still make it like decorative and stuff. And this heart here is let me just fix that. This heart here is a little pocket where I stuck a little lovely little romantic vintage image in there. So that goes in the little pocket like that. And like, I'm having fun with like using like fabrics and stuff. And again, like, this is a like, I'm really sort of enjoying this kind of hobby. And it's not most of the stuff I get from like Value Village, my thrift store, or like any other like thrift stores, or like Dollarama has like a bunch of like these like jewel stickers and like that kind of stuff. And that's like another picture there, and this one here is a little inside pocket thing, flap, with like a poem in there, and like a painting. And that's sort of like what junk journals sort of are. They're like little, there it is. They're just sort of journals with like little interactive sort of pieces. Most of them are like vintage themed. This one here, the wedding dress, is like also another little pocket where this like a handwritten letter is inside, and there's another page with like a musical sort of background there, and some stickers, another vintage image up here. And I've found with like a clear sort of cellophane-y plasticky cover, and I've found that again, like with like a space where you can like actually write. The jewelry frame, that's what I was gonna say. I'm finding that like I can make like a lot of like interesting frames and stuff from pictures with like jewelry, or images of jewelry. And here's another picture there with this really pretty like under strip there of like pearl and fake diamonds. And I think that was that's the most recent page that I did. So that's sort of what I'm working on, and I'm also doing like, I'm just gonna show you a few here of like different like different like little pockets and tags and stuff to put in journals and stuff if people like aren't able to get their own like creative like supplies and stuff. I'm doing that kind of stuff. So I make like sort of like journal like little tags that sort of go. You can like put them in pockets. You can also use these as bookmarks. I put my first pack up on Etsy as well. This one is a cute little like vintage sort of pocket. You put this like, you stick this on a page, and then you can put whatever you like sort of in here. We have envelopes, pretty little sort of decorative envelopes, and you put your stuff in there. So yeah, just sort of that's sort of what I've been up to the past month or two, just as I've been like dealing with like this insomnia, and it's just sort of been something that I've been enjoying doing during the day as well. Like when I get home from work, it's really nice to sort of just sit, have like YouTube going and like watching different like YouTube videos and stuff, and just sort of be like here doing something, like creating something. And it's sort of something that like I can do while like watching videos and stuff, and still feel like I'm being like productive. And because it's like I can't write obviously and like watch videos and stuff. I can't, obviously by just logistics. So that's sort of been what I've been up to. I'm gonna put the link to the Etsy store will be in the description if you want to check that out. I have been writing as well, still working on Good Women, but I've just been, and this goes into like my New Year's resolution portion of the video. This year I want to try and be more productive and disciplined, and that's always sort of the main resolution for me, because I really struggle with that, because I want to do like all these things, and then it's just I guess like would we call it laziness? I don't know, because like I will like then like come up with any little excuse not to do that thing. And I really want to stop doing that in 2024 and sort of managing my time better and making time to do sort of like all the things that I want to do. In the sense that like I want to record videos more regularly. I want to write more regularly. I want to do my paper crafting now more regularly. And so those three things are sort of what I want to focus on this year. I want to make these three things a priority. Because I do want to, and again, the dream is always to be able to write from home full time, because your girl is getting like, I love where I work. Don't get me wrong. I really enjoy where I work and the people that I work with. However, I am getting really sick of retail and just people being shitty and entitled and just the stress of dealing with people. And I had a friend of mine, this coworker, we were on our way home from work, and we were talking about how she thinks she's an introvert. And I was saying like that I'm most definitely an introvert. And how she's here, but like she doesn't have any family here. She's here on like a visa kind of thing, and so she's working and she's going to school. And she was talking about how like she misses her family, but she likes to like like stay at home and stuff. But then she starts talking about how she needs to see people and she needs to be like around people and stuff. And I told her like that's not an introvert. No, because I love staying at home. Again, this past year, I've really enjoyed like going on my walks and stuff and like just sort of going out and like getting fresh air and like that's, I've really, really enjoyed that. But I like sort of like being to myself, like going, like doing all that stuff, but like myself. And again, I love spending time, when I go visit my sister and like hang out with like my niece and my nephew and that kind of stuff. But if they lived like in another country, and if I was here in my city like truly alone, I would be perfectly fine. I would be perfectly fine not visiting anybody, not seeing anybody. Again, I enjoy visiting my sister and I enjoy visiting my niece and my nephew, and that's, fine. But it's not something that I need. I don't need to be around people. So I think that's really what the true sense of an introvert is. And I'm definitely that. So, yeah, I just want to sort of be more productive this year to get to kind of that goal of I want to work from home full time. I don't want to do retail anymore. And this is saying that I enjoy where I work. I do. It would just be perfectly fine. It would be perfectly wonderful and better without the public. If we didn't have to deal with the stupid ass public, retail would be perfectly fine. Would be great. So yeah, I've been doing the scrapbooking and I want to get, more focused on that, more focused on my writing, which working on Good Women, and I should have finished it by now. When I opened it to work on last year, I was at 54,000 words. 6,000 words to my goal. I haven't made much headway there. And that makes me mad at myself. And I want to, make more of an effort to write every day. At least every day that I'm off. Because somehow, like, when I work, and that's another thing, when I work and, like, stuff, I don't have the mental sort of capacity to come home and, like, write. There's, like, a different part of my brain that I can sort of unwind if I'm doing, like, a paper craft. I can do that when I come home. But I can't think up things to write. I can't think up words when I come home from work. I'm just too mentally drained. And it's not that my job is a mentally draining job. It's just dealing with the people. So much people that that part of my brain just will not work when I come home. So yeah, those are sort of like the focus that I want this year. is sort of managing my time better. And that's sort of the goal. And sort of, I just wanted to kind of show just a little bit with this whole like scrapbooking and collaging thing. Again, I get most of my stuff from like thrift stores and discount kind of like bookstores. And some of the stuff that I have found, like I'll go to like Indigo, which is like which is a like regularly priced bookstore, and get like stuff from there. Mostly though, it's used bookstores, thrift stores, and that kind of stuff, because books are expensive. But I found this series on vintage sort of fashion, and let me just grab, like, it's stuff like this. Like, I got this 1940s. I have the first book that I found is a 1930s one, and I've already cut up that one and stuff. But it's all with, like, images like that, and, like, vintage images sort of like that, and they have, like, pages from, like, catalogs and, like, ad pages and just this kind of stuff that, like, you can cut up and use in your journals, or to make sort of like any kind of like cool like vintage craft thing. And it's funny, I find it funny that my mom, when we were growing up, she was busy, like raising us and like trying to stretch her money, because we were on social assistance. So that was always like a struggle. So she was never into like art or crafting or anything like that. Once we were all grown and moved out and like living our own lives, once she hit into like her 40s, and that she started getting into art. She started getting into like crafts and stuff, and she does them now. Like she'll send me stuff that like she's working on. When did I start? This past year. I'm 46. So I find it like this weird sort of parallel that like now I'm really am turning into my mother. Which, we don't need to get too psychoanalytical about that. But yeah, I find that like really, really funny. So yeah, I will find like books on like that, like fashion stuff. I found, and there are always these like really big coffee table kind of books. This book on advertising, and it's all with like different sort of ads. It's like, oh, that page is ripped there. Like different sort of ads, like over the years, in like the last 100 years. So like that kind of stuff you can use in your like paper crafting stuff, and I'm loving that. Just put that down there. So I'm like really, really enjoying that, and which leads me sort of into my next thing that I wanted to talk about. I am making a resolution not to buy any books this year. The only exception is books for my crafting. And that's because with my crafting books, I take what I need from them, I go through them, cut the images, and then they're gone. They are out of my apartment. You only see like this, what's on like the bookshelves and stuff, and like that's, my TBR shelf, and that's also like my TBR shelf of what I still have to show you guys in book hauls and stuff. And then there's that you see a little bit off to the side there. But there are so many piles of books still around here that I need to show and that I need to read. That right now, and I'm feeling very strongly about it right now, I'm hoping that I can stick to this. I am not going to buy any new books this year. Any new fiction books this year. Because I have too many piles of books around here. I'm feeling very strongly about it right now. I hope that this feeling persists and that I can do this. And just a little, in keeping with that, just a little tweak on my channel here. I will continue to make, like, of course, like, book-related videos and stuff, and, like, TV show-related videos, and, like, that stuff's not changing. The only thing that's going to be changing is that I'm not going to do book wrap-ups anymore. I've decided that I like the idea of doing separate book reviews for the books that I read. And this is sort of modeled after a friend of mine, booktuber that I watch, Becky's book reviews. And the way that she runs her channel is she does, her channel is book reviews. A book review, a video dedicated to one book. So I decided that instead of doing like the monthly book wrap-up things, instead of doing the monthly book wrap-ups, when I finish a book, then I will review it. So, I just like that idea. And sort of like the letting you guys know, like, reading updates and stuff, that'll be in, like, these kind of videos, like the vlog type kind of videos. So I have a few books to talk about here, sort of what I'm reading, what I've read a little bit, and then what you can sort of expect book reviews, upcoming book reviews for. So I think we'll just get into that now. Let me just get a drink of water. Okay. So, for my reading updates, I read, we have a few, well, let's talk about the DNFs first. Sadly, I DNF'd Maisie Yates's Wild Ride Cowboy. It was fine, but it wasn't grabbing me. It just wasn't doing it for me. It was fine, but it was alright. Which made me sad, because her Harlequin Presents book, A Royal World Apart, is on my keeper shelf. I love that book so much. This one just didn't do it for me, so it's going to be going to a better home. Just put that over there. This one too. Harlequin Presents Susan Stevens' One Night Baby. Nah, didn't, yeah, I, do I say I was bored? It just, yeah, no, just didn't work for me. This one, it's kind of hard to review this one because it's Irwin Shaw's Beggarman Thief, and it's apparently a sequel to Rich Man Poor Man, which I have not read. And I'm wondering if maybe if I had read the first one, this one would have worked for me. Because, and I've never had this happen before, I can forgive bad writing if there's a good plot. With this one, I had the exact opposite happen. I loved the writing in this book. Irwin Shaw was, I don't know if he's still with us, I don't think so, a fantastic writer. I loved his writing in this book. It was just so rich and engaging and just so well done. But I didn't give a shit about any of the characters. I've never had that happen before. Or it's like, usually if I don't care about the characters, then I'm usually like bored with like the whole book as a whole. But that's not what happened. I wanted to keep reading this book because I was enjoying the writing so much. I just didn't care about what was happening. And I've never had that happen before. I don't understand what this book was. And I'm thinking that maybe if I read the first one, Rich Man, Poor Man, and then come back to this, it might work better for me. So, for right now, I DNF'd it. But we'll see. We'll see. I DNF'd it because, as I said, I have piles of books to get to. So, yeah, that didn't. This one, Yours Truly Loved Janie. These next two are two books that I really enjoyed and loved. Yours Truly Loved Janie by Anne Rate, and it's part of the Wildfire young adult series, and it's one of those like vintage YA series that was out like in like the 80s and stuff. This one is from 1981. And I will say, this is one of the best YA books that I have read. Granted, I am not a big YA reader, but I'm thinking about like when I would have loved to have read this book when I was this age. Because Janie as a character, she was not one of these, like, today's YA really does not work for me, because I find the YA characters obnoxious and just a lot of the way that they're written is just unreadable to me. I hate the attitudes that they have, and it just does not work for me. But it's just the way that she is written is so like down to earth and like understandable, and just really enjoyed it. I'm going to save it for the separate book review that I'm going to do for it. So this will have its own book review. As will J.R. Ward's The Beast. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I have one nitpick. Well, I'm not, again, if you are new here, the character that I hate the most in this series thus far is Assail. I will not read his parts. I will skim them. Like, not even skim them, I will flip past them. I have no interest in reading about that character. I hate that character. I do not want to read his book. So there is still this debate happening with me whether I'm going to buy his book. Because J.R. Ward, as I mentioned, sneaky bitch that she is, she will weave in other subplots into her book. So we have Rage and Mary here, but we also have what's going on with Layla and the birth of the twins and Quinn and all sort of that's going on. And again, we have, like I mentioned, the other subplot with Assail that I'm flipping past. I do not read his parts, which in a way, kind of, I like, because it makes the reading process go by faster. But yes, this will be getting its own book review as well. And this is Rage and Mary's second book. Because as she's hit sort of every couple thus far, she will revisit a couple. So she's already revisited Beth and Wrath in The King. The King was their second book, and this is Rage and Mary's second book. And this book and this book will be getting their own sort of book reviews, so keep an eye out for those. What I am reading right now is I am again I'm not at home. I'm not reading as much as I would like to be because I've started doing all these other things now. But I still want, and that's another resolution thing, I want to also devote more time to actually sort of reading at home from my big books, because taking like books to work and stuff, I can read like during my breaks and on my commute, and that's all fine. This is too hard to lug around to work. So this is sort of my stay-at-home book. And I am halfway through it, and I am enjoying it. But I wish I was enjoying it more. And it's, again, it's like sort of like a dual timeline thing, where it's the same characters, but you get like Mercedes sort of like in the future, and then like you get Mercedes sort of in the past, and then like she has this daughter named Eden who gets kidnapped. And the person who kidnaps Eden, this boy who grows into a man named Joel, who had this horrific childhood and is suffering a lot of trauma, and coupled with that he's been in Vietnam, in the Vietnam War, so there's like, mental trauma from that as well. He has a connection to Mercedes. And I have my guesses as to what that connection is, but we haven't got into how that connection comes to be yet. And I'm enjoying, like, I don't, and this is terrible to say, because she's the one who's been kidnapped, is being held hostage, but we're not at that point yet. We're still getting the point of, like, the daughter Eden is the one who gets kidnapped and held hostage, but we get, like, her storyline as well. We get, like, the three POVs. We get Mercedes' POV, Joel's POV, and Eden's POV. I don't really care about Eden's POV, and that's terrible because this girl is going to get kidnapped. But yeah, her story doesn't really like interest me all that much. And Mercedes present day, I'm not enjoying as much as I am Mercedes in the past. However, we are entering into Mercedes joining like the rebel group of anarchists and stuff in like Spain. This is Spain, right? Yeah, in the Civil War in Spain. And she's on the side of the anarchists. That part I'm not really all that interested in. I want like I'm more focused on like her personal life and her like relationships. I want more of that. Then, her not her adoptive father, but her mother gets raped by this piece of shit, and then has an arranged marriage with this guy who is this anarchist. And he is not my favorite person either, because he did some pretty vile things against this convent. And there was this night where like all these like anarchists sort of like went crazy and started like all this like violence and murders and like just, and he was a part of that. And so I don't like him very much. And I don't like her real father very much either. And her real father, her biological father, learns that, like, meets Mercedes as a young girl. I think she's like 13, 14. And starts having all these, like, sexual thoughts about her. And it's just very ick and gross. And I'm sort of thinking that this is going where I think it's going. And I think I know what is going to happen. And for dramatic purposes, I like it. I like it very much, and I really hope that it goes where I think it's going to go. There's just parts of the book that I'm not all that invested in and caring about very much. But then there are parts that I am very quite enjoying. So this one is sort of being a little not disappointing, but with like my memory of how much I attached to this book is sort of not living up to my present day reading of it. Like, it's good, and I am really, really enjoying certain aspects of it, but as a whole, it's just okay. One book that let me talk about my audiobook. I am listening to The Valley of Amazement by Amy Tan. And it is about this girl, Violet, who grew up in a brothel / pleasure house / courtesan house, whatever you want to nicely call it, in Shanghai in the early 1900s. Run by her mother, Violet. No, excuse me, Lulu? I think her name was Lulu. And Violet was sort of raised in that environment. Then her mother gets duped by this piece of shit. And who she and her daughter were supposed to leave with this piece of shit. But the piece of shit takes the money that was supposed to be for the money and the tickets that was supposed to be for him and the daughter, who somehow the mother agreed that they were going to meet her later on the ship. And instead, the mother gets on the ship, and the guy and the daughter do not, because he takes off with the money and the tickets for him that were supposed to be for him and the daughter. And he ends up selling the daughter, Violet, to another brothel slash pleasure house slash courtesan house, whatever you want to call it. So now Violet is becoming a courtesan, forced to become a courtesan. And I will say, I am very much enjoying listening to this book, which I did not enjoy The Kitchen God's Wife by Amy Tan. But I'm thinking that I would have felt the same way about this, maybe, if it was in paperback. I think maybe it's because it's an audiobook that I'm enjoying it more. And I'm wondering if maybe I should try The Kitchen God's Wife and The Joy Luck Club. Maybe I should try them in audio and give those books another try in audio, because Valley of Amazement is working for me very, very well in audio, and I don't know if that's what's making the difference. Because there are some books, I guess, that just work for my brain, I don't know why, work better in audio than in paperback. So we shall, I'll give those maybe like another try. I am also reading Lorraine Heath's Texas Destiny. I am about a third in. I am almost halfway through. I am loving this book so much. This might be, so far, my favorite read. I think this will be my first 5-star of the year. Just might be. Just might be. We have Amelia, who is a mail order bride who is going to be marrying a man named Dallas in Texas. Dallas has a brother named Houston. He also has a brother named Austin in Texas. Dallas is unable to pick Amelia up from the train station for reasons. Does he hurt himself, I think? So he sends his brother Houston, who was injured and scarred during the war. So he's very sort of, broody and, angry at the world and all that jazz and self-conscious about his scars and stuff. So Houston is the one who picks up Amelia, and they are making the trek back, the 3-week, I believe, trek to her husband. And of course, happy pants are developing. Now, again, Amelia has never met Dallas. They've only ever exchanged letters. So she agrees to marry him for reasons of her own that we don't quite know yet. Um, but they've never actually like met each other and talked. They've only corresponded through letters. And so as she's making this trek with Houston, the happy pants are developing. And everything I love about Lorraine Heath's writing is in here. She does wonderful sort of emotions and just, it's sensual, it's romantic, it's emotional. The scene where like the little girl, they stop at this farmhouse with these to see these neighbors, quote unquote. I mean, they're still like a week or two away from like their own house, and the neighbor's like a week away or something, and like just to show you like how remote this place is. But they stop at this neighboring couple's house, and they have this little girl. And the scene where like the little girl looks at Houston and like kisses his scars because that's what her mommy does when she has an owie. I'm loving this book so much. I am loving it so much. And I'm about 144 pages in, and I am hoping that the rest of it goes as well as the first bit is going. And yeah, I'm loving it. So that's sort of what I'm reading kind of right now. I think I mentioned that I was starting to watch The Walking Dead with my sister, and I'm recording reactions for those at her place, and so those will be going up as soon as I finish recording the reactions and videos for the rest of Outlander season 6. I have one more episode left in season 6, and that's episode 8 of Outlander to go up. Once that's done, then I will start editing and uploading my reactions for the first season of The Walking Dead. I am up to season, I think we've started season 3 of The Walking Dead. I am enjoying it so far. I'm quite enjoying it. I'm trying to think who my favorite character is. Right now it's Rick Grimes. I would say Rick Grimes is my favorite character. And my least favorite character is Andrea. Which makes me sad, because I loved her character in The Mist, which was also a Frank Darabont project. And Dale was also in The Mist, but sadly by now in The Walking Dead we've lost Dale. And again, I am only in season 3. I don't know sort of like what she does later, but I'm not understanding the Lori hate. I'm really not. I don't hate her. There are things she does and says that I don't like on occasion, that I don't agree with. But, like, I like that she's not always, that I'm not always sort of on her side on certain things. And she's not always, like, the most likable person. Like, I like that because it makes her a sort of well-rounded sort of person. Andrea, I can't stand. just because of her attitude. And I'm sorry, when Dale died, she hardly showed any reaction. This old man who clearly loved her and her sister and looked out for them and was sort of a father figure to them during this whole horrific event that happened. And what? She showed almost no reaction to his death. I liked her when she was helping Carol with her piece of shit husband. That was it. After that, after her sister died, she got a personality lobotomy or something. I don't know. But yeah, no. I don't understand how people say that they hate Lori when Andrea's right there. Andrea's right there being a bitch throughout the whole show. Lori has, yes, done one or two small, in my opinion, unlikable moments. But as a whole, I like her character. I don't understand. I don't understand the Lori hate. So, yeah. So, enjoying that. Reactions for that will be going up soon. Yeah, so make sure that you're subscribed. So that's sort of a little, not so little, heads up of sort of what's been going on with me, what I've been reading, what I'm sort of up to, and my goals sort of for the new year. So that's going to be it for this week's video. Hope you enjoyed. Follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/authorejamie. Like my Facebook page at facebook.com/authorejamie, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!